Takes second one of the weekend. Today's topic we have a special guest. Well, a guest. He's kind of special. Um, not in a not okay. We'll forget about what I just said. Today's topic we're going to be talking about is the physical mental health concerns of gamers. I kind of wanted to go into the gaming topic. I didn't want to because gaming's too broad. It's hard to tell. I think gamers are kind of it's more specific to a person. So, let our guest introduce himself.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Joyceinator. People call me Jake. I am a Twitch streamer and YouTuber. Run a channel called Joyceinator Gaming. So that's kind of like my two main platforms. Then I'm very active on Instagram and Twitter. My main focus is like networking and like high-level competitive play across different genres. That's
That's nice. I don't know why it's. I think you need to press ready up.
Yeah, give me just 1 second. All of my volume settings have reset since the last time I played this because it's been like 2 seasons. So everything's crazy. Uh,
Okay, so while we wait for him to kind of get started, so I'm just gonna ask him the opening topic question before we get into the main topic. Um, so let me find it real quick. So this is kind of what are some goals that you want to achieve overall in the next 6 months as a person or in gaming or whatever?
so the next 6 months, my main goals are pretty much like on a personal level. It's mostly like financial based, so just like stabilizing my net assets and that kind of stuff. As far as like gaming, I'm a very active Madden player, so I'm looking to hit like top 1 to top 0.5% in the world in Madden over the course of the next 6 months. Put together a couple of ebooks and like tips manuals for Madden.
How's the ebook subbing? How is the ebooks you made been going?
They're I'm still so what I do is I like write it all down on paper for the most part, just like kind of um, route concepts, defensive schematics, that kind of stuff, um, and then run through. So basically, like with Madden ebooks, you're running through an entire set of formations and playbook um, features, and then you go through kind of down the line as far as like ways to disguise your like concepts and strategies and stuff like that. So it's pretty labor intensive, and I'm still in the early stages of my first couple of ebooks.
Okay, let's ask. I'm
If that
about
all
to get
makes
into
sense.
this
I know that's
about
kind of a
top.
lot of technical
Yeah, it does.
stuff.
Well, that's okay. I kind of
Madden.
understand. It's just trying to make sure you try to get every Madden player to know what you're expecting from the opposing player, even if
Right.
at least have a fighting chance. Because I think even when I played Madden online, I didn't know it was gonna be this hard. I thought it was gonna be kind of pass it to the guy and make it work, but they knew the defensive schemes and all that. I didn't really want to learn it, so I just said, okay, screw it.
Right.
And
And it,
yeah,
yeah, and that's what it basically comes down to is like um, knowing when to change your play, learning how to like manipulate the defense with like coverage beaters and stuff. And so there's a lot that goes into it. Um, but me and my so like for me individually, and then also my friends that play with me on like a like duo teams. The last 2 years we've been uh, like top 0.4 0.5% in the world the last 2 years on Madden, and so that's where we're working towards right now. And I've been experimenting around with a lot of different stuff to see what's like the easiest ways to do that. So,
okay, that's nice. Let me ask you this: your favorite? While we get into football, this last thing I'm gonna ask you for opening topic. Favorite college football team and NFL team,
so
just for the
I
hell of
have
it.
two of each. So
That's fine.
for college football, I like Michigan State Spartans, and I like Clemson. I'm a Clemson bandwagoner over the last like 5 years or so. And then for professional, my favorite NFC team is the Detroit Lions, and my favorite AFC team is the Houston Texans.
Oh, nice. I'll
Yeah.
tell you mine. I don't know what the hell's happening. But NFL, I'll go with Lions and Patriots.
Hey,
I'm guessing you're from Michigan because you said Spartans.
I'm actually from Wisconsin. I just hate I just hate the Packers.
Uh, College, Michigan and Florida.
Mm,
Or that's what I was watching beforehand. So let's start. Let's start with the first question. We're gonna start with physical health first, and then we're gonna ask like a couple of physical health questions, and then we'll switch to mental health once we finish up the physical health questions.
okay.
The first one I'm gonna ask you is, what do you consider in your mind the stereotype for the physical attributes to a gamer? Like, what do you like in your head? What do you expect a gamer to look like, and kind of what do you think? First thing, let's go with your opinion on what you think they usually, in your opinion, look like, and then what do you kind of think the public thinks they are
Sure.
in
Before I
retrospect?
answer those questions, I'm sorry. I know you said you wanted me readied up. I'm having trouble getting readied up here. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
For this game. So I hit A, but it's not like readying up. Do I need to like do
You
something?
had to hold it. You had to hold
Oh,
it.
you gotta hold it.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
stupid. I just figured
I've
it
been away
out
from the
today.
game for a hot minute. And then refuse cross-platform or no?
Just keep it on cross-platform.
Okay. So as far as like physical attributes, I feel like a lot of people wrongly associate gamers with like, um, being people with poor posture, people who might be overweight, struggle with like acne and skincare, or have like bad hygiene, are like some of the like major things that I would assume that people would conflate with bad or with gamers and their appearance.
I
It's
would.
just kind of like what I feel like the stereotype of what like non-gamers associate with gamers. People who are like physically weak and out of shape, and then also struggle with like skincare and hygiene.
Well, I think it's true of you, especially like a really like, active gamer. I think in that retrospect. What do you kind of think it was like actually 5 years ago? Would it be like the same thing?
I feel like it would be the same thing but more extreme. So like in the last five
Five
years we've
years ago?
had yeah
Oh,
yeah I feel like people would have felt the same way, but more extremely. And then in the last 5 years we've seen people, especially over the last like couple of years with guys like Ninja and Juju Smith-Schuster, who's a professional athlete and also like a very active gamer. Kind of start to change that perception a little bit. Because obviously both of those guys are in great shape and take very good care of themselves. So like that, I feel like that perception is slowly shifting, but it's still there.
I think you're right in that. I think it's great that we're seeing like changes to game. I think gamers overall. You can choose where you want to land.
Oh,
Um,
I don't know. Go ahead. You go ahead and pick something. I don't know what I'm doing.
but I think looking into that retrospect, I think it's
Sure, let's
great
go
that we're
right for
seeing
the
a
airfield.
big change.
Sound good?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Um, I think you're right now. It's just I feel like again, a couple years ago I thought like every gamer was kind of big. They're not too fit. They're kind of fat, but now it's just I feel like it's a different story because I feel like they're a little bit more skinny. I feel like
Yeah,
they kind of don't. It's kind of different now because I feel like every gamer is starting to get fit, but they're not doing it. They don't have like they're still kind of decently fat, but they're like not totally fat. And then I just feel like the skinny gamers are just gonna be staying skinny, and it's kind of what I think about it. I I probably guess I think it's still gonna be like I didn't feel like staying with that personal hygiene thing. Yeah, that's again that's probably if you got a lot of guys playing, yeah, that's gonna be a constant thing. But it's
yeah.
I think just
That's.
still staying with.
Oh, go
I'll
ahead.
continue.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's another thing I feel like I probably left out. I feel like there's like this big conception that like it's all just like dudes. Like you like gamers are like this big like male only community, like stereotypically, and that's very also very much not the case anymore. Like where people
Yeah,
are
that's
starting to
right.
recognize that like girls play video games too, and like it's not just a guy's thing.
It's also just, to be honest, I think the guys still. I don't know how I want to say this without being sound disrespectful. I feel like the female gamers kind of take better care of themselves. Like they're not over the top, like unfit, if I can
Yeah,
make
I kind of
sense.
feel like that's
They're
because I personally know a lot of girls who are like good gamers and are really out of shape, and then a lot of them who are you take great care of themselves and are also incredible at games. So I feel like you know they're just as mixed as the rest of us, but the perception probably would be that yeah, like they take better care of themselves physically. Like the stereotype
okay.
might be.
So yeah. So this is kind of also going to lead about health and overall. Uh, a lot of gamers still don't try to get physical activity to maintain good health. Kind of the population we're going to say in that retrospect. Why do you think that's the case? That they're not trying to get maintain good health with trying physical activity.
So for
Like, why are
me,
you so
like
scared of that?
sure, for me like that's something that I prioritize really heavily. So like um, for me, I have a physical disability. I have psoriatic arthritis and a chronic pain condition. So physical movement for me is very difficult. Um, but I'm still in you know relatively good shape or like above average physical condition because I you know diet and um, you know watch what I eat and my behavior very carefully. So like I still make a point of like you know walking or running up and down stairs. You know like 8 or 9 sets of stairs a day. Um, you know to make sure that I'm still doing something. Um, but otherwise, like for a lot of people, I feel like maybe it's just not a very big priority. They're not they don't worry themselves about it. You know, they choose not to be concerned about it because they have other stuff that they focus on. And I feel like
That
that's not just true of gamers, but like people in general.
um,
If if that
I
makes
feel like
sense.
the same thing. Oh yeah, it does. Priorities. I think I don't. I wouldn't consider this. I don't know. I don't. I wouldn't consider like money concerns of not trying to because I think gym memberships are not too expensive. I was not gonna really consider that in the option, but I was just kind of thinking about it. Like, could it be a money? Like, dude. But I think it just feels like, especially you don't have to spend like you have time in your day. You can do try even if it's like something small. It doesn't have to be over the top. I think they
Right.
don't want to do that over the top, or they don't even want to try to even like put in. Even if you do like 20 push-ups a day, you're still doing something, and you
Right.
just you
Mhm.
feel more motivated to do more in the future, but just never really kind of see that from anyone. It just kind of sucks.
How far apart are we right now? Because I feel like I'm pretty far away.
I'm not far. But
Because I got a whole bunch of, dude, I just got a military vest and like a whole bunch of gear. Sorry.
that's but I just feel like I just I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like it's something that's easy to do. It's something that could help you in the long run, which I'm probably gonna mention in about a couple of questions, anyways. But like I'm gonna, but it's something that should not be that difficult, and just these gamers don't feel like doing it. Again, maybe someone like you just has a hard time getting that trying to do that because
Mhm.
wait, what, you got arthritis.
Yeah, I have
Some
yeah, so it's called psoriatic arthritis. So basically, it's a skin condition that also affects me uh, by like making my joints attack themselves. So it's altogether like an autoimmune uh, disorder. So like my body is just like attacking itself for no real reason.
Yeah, just having those unfortunate situations where you know you can't even work out because you have, these kind of conditions, these painful conditions. It just sucks. But
Yeah,
I think you could see this, but I think anyone who doesn't really have it should just really try to put the effort into working out because first thing can help you in the long run.
sure.
You don't want to be sitting there having
Well,
pain because you didn't work out.
and even more than
Or
that, like even, for so kind of like twofold, like for me, um, having that kind of a condition, gaming is a huge important outlet for me. Kind of like lets me have something that I can do even when like I'm physically exhausted to where I can't do other things that people normally would. But
yeah,
on the
that's
flip side
right.
of that, like, even I have to like find ways to get up and move and do something from time to time. Like it's even as someone with like a physical disability, like that's still important.
True enough. So next question I'm gonna ask you is kind of this is something back in the day, but I don't really know if this was the case. You know how companies, just say an example, Call of Duty did promotions, like Mountain Dew and Doritos did promotions.
Mhm.
You get exclusive codes if you buy their products.
Yeah.
If and so, do you think it's kind of bad that these companies are doing that? Like,
No.
well, actually, let's. Sorry, I forgot. I have something
So
else to add
sure.
to that. Um, actually, you kind of right. We just said no, but do you think they need to cut back on that? Like, not, maybe even if they buy the product, just don't make it too hard to get, so they don't keep buying it and having that case of, oh crap, I have to
What?
buy like 20. I have to drink. You know how they
Oh, sure.
maybe
Yeah, yeah,
some
yeah.
of
I
them
get
have
you.
like cans and all
Um,
that.
I don't, and the reason for that is because like at the end of the day, it's still like, especially for like adult gamers, right? So, for young gamers, maybe I can understand that being a little bit more of a concern, because they're impressionable and aren't like fully cognitively developed. But
Yeah.
especially for like adult gamers, like that's an adult decision. Like regardless of whether or not it was on sale, if it wasn't on sale, you just buy something else that was cheaper and as bad for you. Um, so I don't think it's really like the company's responsibility to not have good promotions and not sell things because that's kind of their job as an organization. Um, so no, I don't think so because when it comes down to it, it's still their decision, their choice to purchase and consume those items.
For those exclusive items.
Right. I mean,
Also,
even
let me
even if it
add.
is on sale, right? Like you still chose to spend your money on that. You could have. I mean, if you think about it, like what, 6 24 packs of Mountain Dew, you could have gotten another game with that. You could have filled up your gas tank twice with that, depending on price of gas where you live.
You do for exclusive game item that for a game that you don't really not maybe
Right. You
you're
don't
probably not
necessarily
gonna play
even
for that
play.
long.
Right.
I think
Like,
especially it was annoying for Call of Duty.
right.
They
It's
did
every
these big
year.
promotions and then
Like,
no one played.
right. So I mean,
Also let me add in.
that's just kind of how
Oh
I
no,
feel about
sorry.
that, though.
Let me add that. Let me add something to that since I just came up with an idea for a question.
Sure.
What do you what po- what age group do you have the most concern for physical health? The younger population who's starting to mature into teenage years, or starting adult life, or do you still have is there still heavy concern for the already adult population
So for me,
for
when it comes to
physical
like
health?
physical health, um, the two groups I'm most concerned about are um, like the very young. So like people who are probably, I would say, 10 and under. And then people who are actually in their probably like 45 to 55 range. Those are the two groups of people that I'm most concerned about for their physical health and well-being. I'm getting
Oh,
shot at.
nice. Um, I think you kind of right on that part. I see him. Um,
I don't.
well, currently east, kind of east.
Oh,
I
ow,
just, I
ow,
think I
ow,
still
ow.
got
I just got shot
concern for like
from north, man.
um, I think I still got like heavy concerns. I see him.
I had a sniper rifle
I'm dead.
too. Damn it.
Um,
Oof.
I feel right. I think getting more concern for the younger population is kind of right because again, they're going to be developing, they're going to learn this. I think, especially with the younger population getting a lot more unmature, they're going to buy these products. They don't, probably going to tell them they don't care. They're going to be more. I think we go to physical health overall. I think they're going to be more addicted to games and not really going to. They're going to think they have a chance to make money off this without thinking of the other side effect, in reality to it.
Sure. I mean, I guess I have
So,
two points to kind of respond to there. So, but first, I'm sorry. What's your age again? I'm sorry.
18. So
18.
I'm
Okay.
getting.
So I'm 24. So I'm a little bit older. So there's a couple of things that you would have probably missed out on, like just barely. And I want to use some of those as an example as to why I'm not worried about people younger than us being immature. So, uh, the reality of it is like every generation is like that. And as you get older, you just start to see them do the same dumb crap you would have done when you were their age, and you shake your head at it because you're older and you wouldn't do it anymore. So like when I was their age, like we were pouring salt on our arms and using ice to burn the flesh off of ourselves. Like if the worst thing they're doing right now is TikTok, like they're doing fine. Like we used to fill our mouths full of cinnamon and see if we could swallow and choke ourselves half to death off of it. Like I mean, we did dumb shit when we were their age. So like I'm not worried about their maturity level. Um, what I am worried about is their concern. So the reason that I'm worried about the very young population, so like 10 and under, and not like these like adolescent
Wait, wait,
and
wait. Sorry,
like
let me
teenage
disrupt
kids.
you for a second.
Yeah.
Is it going into mental health? Because we can start that off
No,
after
I'm
physical health. Is
staying true
that okay?
to physical health here.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yep, yep.
Make sure.
So the reason I'm most worried about them is more because of like their parents and how much their parents tend to care about physical health because we have like so much technology and medicine is so advanced right now that there's not really any excuse or like reason why they should have worse health. Um, it's a matter of like, do their parents care about it? Because at that point, like they don't have any advocacy or any way to have like a level of self-efficacy about their own health. Um, Sorry, I'm gonna try to find a place for us to drop if you unless you got somewhere you're thinking.
Oh no, I got nowhere. I don't know this much. Yeah, that's kind of right. I
Uh,
think seeing that it's kind of, it's matters what the parents do, and sometimes it matters on how supportive your parents are in what you want to
Sorry, I
pursue. I think.
bounced. Let's grab these like little buildings right underneath us. Um, and then
Um,
for like the older people, the reason I'm worried about them is because it's the same reason. Like, do they care? Will they actually listen to all of these like huge advancements we've made in the field of medicine? Because like, there's so much that should be able to help them stay in shape and stay alive longer than any other generation that's lived, and yet I still see people just like not care about any of these advancements, like every day in my job. So I don't think we're alone here.
I think. I know that. You kind of right. Just making sure the older population doesn't. I think doesn't make the younger population act overly kind of stupid in that case, or make them where it turns into a. It doesn't turn. It turns harmful. Make sure it doesn't do that. I think If that's no problem there, I think we're kind of a lot fine. But I think make sure they know how concerned your physical health is because it can be a big difference between a young age ending up with many diseases or worse dying just because you taught them to be this gamer that should do this and do that and not worry about it because thinking they have a chance to be something great and then it just doesn't work out and then they end up with all these health concerns and they end up with all these other problems that
Right.
that so I
Yeah,
think kind of right in that
100%.
respect. Um, so let's.
Fuck. Oh
You
god, I
said
just got jumped by two guys at the same
sorry, I can
time.
help you.
No, it's not your
Um,
fault.
so last question I ask you about physical health is what do you kind of think of a gamer's physical health overall?
Just as a rule.
Sorry, no, sorry, not. Sorry, that's the wrong.
Sure.
Let's talk about your situation because you said you have the arthritis.
Yes.
How have you tried to personally overcome it? Like, how have you tried to improve your physical health overall, even with having arthritis in your way?
So the big thing is like as my
And actually,
oh, go
your
ahead.
overall health.
So I've had
Let's add to that.
arthritis since I was a kid, but for a long time it didn't matter. Like I was a two-sport athlete in high school, and I've maintained a very active and tried to maintain a healthy lifestyle for a long time. But my diet was garbage because I have a very fast metabolism. So then a few years ago, when my arthritis really started to get worse, and the fact that it was untreated started giving me a lot of other health problems, I started to change the way that I eat a lot. So it started out because I used to drink an absurd amount of Mountain Dew. Like I would go through a 24 pack a week, um, and I would go through other sodas and stuff, and I just ate really poorly, didn't care. I'd walk into McDonald's and grab 2,000 calories worth of food and put it away in 15 minutes. You know, um, and so when my arthritis started to get worse and I realized I couldn't just go run a mile whenever I wanted to or that kind of stuff, I started just really changing the way that I eat. So now I try to make as much of my own food as I can. I don't buy like a lot of prepackaged or pre-processed foods. I have cut back on drinking things that are unhealthy. So especially over the last like year and a half, I've cut soda almost completely out of my life. So like the only things that I drink now are water, coffee, and beer sometimes. Like I'll drink beer with my food because I'm of age. Um, but like I don't drink soda. I don't drink juice. I don't drink like any of that stuff. I don't drink milk because of other like health problems, but I wouldn't hate on anyone drinking milk because I feel like milk is good for most people. Um, but yeah, that's like one of the two of the biggest things. I try to make all of my own food, so learning how to cook is a big deal, and that's part of why I was concerned about the very young population because a lot of their parents don't know how to cook. So even if they do care about healthy lifestyles and not feeding their kids garbage all the time, do they know how to cook it?
Probably
You
not.
know, like that's a
Um,
real concern. A lot of the kids I went to high school with, we graduated and they had no idea how to cook.
let's actually go to the
Um,
same area.
yeah,
Um,
let's go for that high ground on the left side of the island.
but you can finish up if you have anything else.
Um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like, I tried to I don't eat like a ton of carbs. I eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of freshly prepared meat. Um, it doesn't really matter all that much what you eat, usually, as long as you make it yourself. Um, so that's kind of my big thing. Um, is it just don't drink stuff that's bad for you, don't eat stuff that's bad for you. And it's kind of amazing how that can make you feel about yourself.
Overall, I think I've been trying to. It sucks because I have type. Well, probably easier for me because I have type 1 diabetes like since I was 9. So it's like I wasn't having too much concerns with my health before I was young. So I just since I had it diagnosed in 2010, it's been kind of okay. Gonna cut back on sugars, make sure I don't eat anything unhealthy because I think to this day, and if it could have been worse if I didn't have it, I probably would have been eating a lot of junk food, which fortunately has been the case. But I've been trying to stay healthy, make sure I don't like overconsume too much. Just making sure I don't have any sort of concerns. I got like a gym membership like 5 years ago, and I've been really active on it, trying to see if I can get muscle and all that. And it was great to get the gym membership since it's the first thing I got something to do instead of like being here just playing games.
Right.
You having that concern about the physical health, and I've been trying to include more protein, oh crap, I'm knocked. Get more variety of foods
Okay.
in my
I'm pretty far
system.
away from you, aren't I?
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry about
Yeah, I'm pretty far away from you. I'm sorry.
it. Like trying to get more and more foods into like system, like healthy and healthier. But again, it's still been a struggle because I just haven't been really. I don't know how I want to say. Just never think about eating health. Like I try to eat healthy, but again, it's hard when you don't have the money or the income, or you don't know how to cook to be able to, for your situation, make your own foods that you know are considered like healthy.
Yeah, and that's kind of
Um,
like part of it too is, it's not like I was saying, it's not all as much about, um, what you make as long as you know how to make something yourself, you know. So like a lot of people are daunted by, well, I don't know how to make healthy food. Well, learn how to make something for yourself. Um, Especially when like because once you know how to cook for yourself, like life gets a lot cheaper. Like so like mac and cheese, right? Like if you're buying prepackaged mac and cheese, um that stuff is like pretty cheap, right? But once you like spend like $7 on 3, 4 meals worth of food, then it gets a little different. If
right.
that all makes sense. I know I kind of rambled a little bit there, but
Yeah, I read that part. It's just trying to save money, make sure you don't
right,
ruin it.
because like healthy eating for most people, I'm not saying everyone, because obviously there's like food deserts and stuff. I'm not trying to put that on anyone, but like for most people, like healthy eating is not as expensive as it sounds like or is cracked up to be.
Hmm.
It's just
Be
about
right now.
knowing how to do it, and that's where the
Okay.
problem lies.
I think it's
S-
easy because now there's a lot of
That circle's
recipes
pretty far.
online. Even if it's goes from if you want to make an easy recipe, you can make eggs, and that's good enough.
Right.
But just
You
people
can buy
don't want to do it,
buy a dozen eggs
and
for what, like $2?
make yourself eggs for breakfast. You got breakfast. If you don't want to make, you can eat it 3 times a day if you want. There's enough
Boil it.
options even as
Yeah.
so. That's a great thing. Just there's a lot of foods that don't require a lot of concern for cooking. So we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna go to the mental health side next.
Sure.
Um, so let's start with this. We're gonna kind of ask the same thing as we started with the physical health question. What do you think stereotypically of a gamer's mental health?
Um, so I feel like a lot of people associate, and not necessarily wrongly, in a lot of cases, but they associate like a lot of gamers with like anger management problems and like depression, like would probably be the two things that jump out to me um, as things that people would associate with a gamer.
Hmm.
I probably should have grabbed that DMR back there. Yep, definitely should have.
Um, got anything else with it?
Um, if I were to pick just two, it'd probably be those.
W why do you think the gamers kind of feel like well, again, I think it's kind of easy with gaming
Oh my
because you
God.
get angry sometimes. Um, but why do you kind of feel like those two specifically are they like really common for like do you think for even your friends, do you think that's for them like your friends' mental health, do you think that's kind of their if you ask them, you think about it, you think that's the reason too why they get I don't
Um,
know.
yeah, I would assume, or I would probably say that those are the two um, things that jump out to me the most about like social gamers. I know a lot of people who don't like game online or like play with other people. So like people who play a lot of like RPGs, like The Last of Us, or puzzle gamers, or like those kind of people who don't actually play games that revolve or involve interacting with other people. Um, they a lot of them that I talk with struggle with like anxiety or they might have people who avoid shooters. I know some of them do that, or horror games do that because they have like post-traumatic stress disorder, um, just kind of stuff like that. So like I feel like gamers suffer with a lot more as a community than people realize, um, and the ones that people do give recognition to are more just like the social side of gamers, because gamers are just people, and people have mental health problems. Like, so it's easy to overlook some of those problems that don't make themselves as apparent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think kind of that retrospect, I think it's kind of what you think about it, it's just I would go with bi uh bipolar and un bipolar and unrealistic. And the reason is okay, I'll talk about unrealistic because that one's gonna be a lot more complicated. It's something I'd never tried thinking of. I think bipolar is because there's stages of happiness and then there's stages of stress or anger just because of the
Mhm.
stresses of playing video games. I think especially in an online setting, which I'll mention a question later about that. But I think especially online setting, there's just a lot of stuff that happens in game. You get angry at someone, and then you just some stages you get happy, and it just you can't. Um, you know, I think it's inconsistent. It's not like you're happy for like 3 hours because I can't see a gamer being happy for 3 hours. I can't see a gamer being unhappy for you know this long. Let's go right here. Um, so it's just
Sure.
very. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it's not consistent.
Um, so, hmm, it's a very interesting way of putting it, and I need to think about that for a second because there's a lot to unpack in what you just said. So, a lot of people who aren't gamers and have depression are about the same way. So
Actually, I'll ask
that's
a question about. Wait, don't
sure.
ask about depression. I got a question for that. Let me actually explain my second point. Then, well, once the depression question
Yeah,
asked, and you can ask it.
works for
Um,
me.
so that's okay. It's two times already. But I think kind of being right in that retrospect. The reason I went with unrealistic is because it's not true to what the actual person's feeling. Because you can hide identities. Like gamers, like you can't tell of like compared in real life, they're really enjoyable. They're all they're really excited when you see them online. They're happy that you're online and all that, but then you go into, and there's some cases
That
like where
wasn't
they're
good.
also angry. Um, they're also angry. Some also people, that's like angry. It's like, why is he angry? And then you kind of compare it in real life to actually, maybe the person who rages a lot online is probably different um in person. They're nice, they're charming, they're
Sure.
this and that. And then even you just say the gamers you think are chill, fine and all that, they're depressed, maybe in their cases they're angry, they're bitchy, and the only time they, probably don't, probably have problems, but maybe gaming calms them down, and they don't care what happens in gaming it doesn't, it doesn't relate to realistic real life. And
Sure. I'll.
if,
I see that. I get you.
so maybe that's the reason. Again, it's unrealistic. I think it sucks. It's hard because I think emotions switch, and that's how our mind is. Um, overall.
Right.
So
So yeah. Um. Hmm. It's really interesting because uh, obviously, mental health is a human issue and not limited to um any one person or group of people. But you do tend to see similarities across like groups of people. Because like for gamers, for example, since that's who we're talking about. Um, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. You'll see a lot of us tend to struggle with the same types of mental health problems. Um, so for me, a lot of my gaming friends have depression, but I do too. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that um, people who are similar and spend time with similar people to them, uh, you start to see trends like that because people will associate with people who are like them. Um, so in my case, people who have depression tend to be kind of drawn to me because I act in a way that is um,
similar to your traits.
relatable to them. Right.
Interesting. Again, it's hard because again they probably like people who have the same attitude as you, even if it's not in the right form. Like maybe having that depression factor, and being friends with someone who has the same. Well, I don't know, imagine the situation, but it sucks that's the
Right.
case.
And it's kind of they you like to be around people who understand you. It's probably what it boils down to most. Oh, we got a long way to go, dude. Is there a car
Yeah,
around
you
here or
want to find a
something?
car? Nope.
I didn't even look. Um, but I know for me, um, in a lot of the gaming communities I'm a part of, raging is super super common. Like we'll take Madden for example, right? Because that's one of my main focus areas. Um, you see even at um, big championship events and tournaments, you'll see people rage and freak out and threaten each other and try to start fist fights with each other. Um, and that's just seen as normal, but it's not, that's not normal anywhere else. Um, but across different communities, you don't see people rage being a common theme in people who play The Last of Us, or people who play um, I don't know a popular RPG on Xbox. I know a lot of them have just shifted to being PlayStation exclusives over the last few years.
I don't know. Just kind of come up with PlayStation. It doesn't matter.
It's
I don't. I really don't know.
yeah, so it's games that are because Last of Us is an incredibly violent game, but you don't see a lot of their players being like, um,
Suicidal. Well,
aggressive towards each
sorry, not that.
other
Sorry, not that.
or.
Imagine how emotional the game is. I think you're kind of right. I think the big thing is if the game is online. I know hitting a red zone, we're probably gonna get fucked here, but I don't care. Um,
Here goes nothing.
but
Oh
oh
God, there's a
no,
river.
it's a mistake I made. Okay,
Well,
this hasn't been working out.
I don't know how to
Um,
swim in this game either.
you have to
Well,
say and go up.
I guess it's time to find another car, huh? I just almost got
Or-
pink misted by one of these explosions.
I think, I think the online game community is more angered. I think because of how intense it is, because there's more on the line. I think better. I think more in the single player community. I think. Or you're
Sure.
gonna have. I think a lot of times you're gonna have a lot more emotions in place.
Or here's a good example I just thought of. So like, you don't see that in like Overwatch League or the Rainbow Six Siege finals. Like you don't see that kind of behavior there because that's just like not seen as acceptable or like what is normal for that community.
I just missed a bike. Um, yeah, it's just. Well, again, first thing they're watching it, so they won't get angry. I think it's if you participate in it, but
Well, no, I'm for Madden, I'm talking like, events where thousands and thousands of people are watching. They're still at each other's throats trying to kill each other.
because it's a very opinion, I think, because no one gets to see it. Especially with online, it's an online community where no one, not the whole public gets to see it.
Oh
It's
shoot, we're in the
secretive. They're
storm.
not gonna know
Oh,
you.
you got a vehicle, don't you?
No, I don't. I didn't. I missed the bike.
Oh. Oh.
Um, but
I've got one.
I think the I was trying to say before you distracted me. Uh,
I'm going
I
the
just
wrong
talking about the
way.
online community just being again harmful. Again, there's lack of identity. They don't know.
Oh God.
Maybe you're just trying to troll because you hate the game. There's many opinions. Maybe gamers, people who are really nice, are really smart, just try to hate the game population, and they may get hate for that. And then maybe you got gamers who are really like awful, but they respect, like who are really angry towards others, but they kind of respect it in
Sure.
a different sort of level. So it's just with the unpredictable things, just you don't know what you're getting.
I'm bringing you a car.
Okay. I forgot how to use meds again.
Down on your D-pad.
Oh, don't hit me. Oh.
Well,
Um.
I need to med up. So just give me a
But
second.
yeah, I
You
think
should be able to med in the passenger seat, right?
yeah, I think
Okay.
it's just it sucks that we get in the situation where you just can't tell who they are and fully. I think it's gonna suck because I think that's how it's gonna be for like the rest of your life. You need to make a left.
Yep.
Um, so next question I'm gonna ask you is, let me find it. Do you think people only play video? Do you think the gamers that we kind of see in the like the overall game population? I think you see most of it only playing video games because maybe they feel depressed and it's the only thing they calm them down, or is it? What do you kind of, or is it just the other way around where
I wouldn't say like the
you know?
only thing, but it definitely feels
Do you
like one
think
of
that's
the
a
one of
thing
the
for
biggest
gamers?
things. For me, personally, yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, not for you, but you think the overall public, like the
Oh,
population. Do you think as game
mhm.
like this could be
Yeah.
a reason, get them out of depression or just stress or anxiety in real life?
I definitely think. Oh shoot.
I
I
just
definitely think that's part of it. Like a noticeable part of why people gravitate towards video games. Because it does provide you with like that sense of like accomplishment and success. We're gonna have to stop and med up. We're dead. No, we're not. Okay, cool.
You can stop. I'll drive. If I know how to switch seats. Um, but yeah, I think true on that part.
Okay, let's
Matters
go.
again. It's a lot of the population that it evolves, and it's unfortunate we get to see some of a scene like that.
But the other thing
Um,
is, like, I feel like we're not too far from a near future where everyone is a gamer in some capacity. Um, and I think the science supports me on that because of stuff like game theory, right? Um, where like everything's a game. We're gonna have to stop and met up.
I
Oh wait,
don't
I
know.
can met up right now, can't I?
So wait, what? Can you repeat that?
Oh, so like game theory, right? Like everything. I'm out of meds. So
Oh, that's
everything
good.
everything that we see and everything we experience in life, our brain processes it like it's a game. And like there's something for us to beat. And as technology continues to evolve and make games constantly accessible to people, like even in my workplace, so I work when I'm not doing like my streaming and YouTubing and stuff. I'm working a full-time day job, and even for us, like all of our metrics for like how we're expected to perform and how we're expected to do just like on a regular basis with our jobs and if we're actually like accomplishing our goals, that's all based on
We're gonna have
game
to swim.
metrics now. I'm dead.
Oh, oh shit! I didn't forget about that. Continue.
So everything there is a game. Even in my 9 to 5 full-time job. Oh, that's not what I wanted. How do I? There it is. Um, it's all a game. And so I think within the next like maybe even 10 years. I know that's a little bit aggressive and ambitious, but I think within the next 10 years, it's not unreasonable to expect a future where everyone is a gamer in some way.
Well, that's different.
So like
Again, I
all of
think
these issues we're
especially
talking about right now are just ahead of the curve for everyone else. We're just experiencing them a decade or two before everyone else will.
so you think they're gonna have the same like people will become more and more like a lot more of the overall population in planet Earth is gonna be like that because especially with the population increasing, you're gonna see a lot more gamers. You're gonna see a lot more people with anxiety and all that start affecting into the gaming population, or is it just gonna kind of think oh worldwide? Like, what do you think will
So,
have a faster increase?
um, I think
Probably world.
I think games are going to be taking over our lives a lot more than we realize or would like to expect. As more and more, it's like I work for a technologies company, so like obviously like we're a little more cutting edge as far as like jumping on the games bandwagon. Um, but I do think the technology is going to overtake people, and they're going to end up gamers faster than they're going to realize that they have gamer problems. If that makes sense. If that answers your question adequately.
Oh, that works. I think it's a different point of view. I think different way to thinking about the problem. So next question I'm gonna ask you is: could we see more self-inflicted harm from gamers due to stress-like behaviors? With the with depression, anxiety, like they're gonna try to. I'm not gonna say self-inflicted harm. Like, well, we can say self-inflicted harm, like maybe stab, like this maybe suicide or stab themselves, or you could like maybe seem harm to the public with mass like shootings.
Hmm.
Um, you know, it's an odd question. But
Yeah.
could we see that?
Go ahead.
No, no, that's not that's fish.
Like, do you think we're gonna see that increase or like I just want to make sure I understand the
Well,
question before I try to answer it.
well, could we see? could we see gamers start like having having stress, start self-inflicting themselves because it's not working while gaming in the real world, and or they could harm people. I don't know. It's a
Um,
hard.
so mm, I think it's kind of interesting to and important to pay attention to where that kind of behavior comes from a lot of the time. So it's not the normal communities you'd expect them to come from either. So like the last time there was a let's go for this little like mountain in front of us. I'm sorry, I forgot to ping it before I jumped. Wanted to make sure we get there.
Okay.
This little high ground with the road running up to the top. So the last time there was like a an active like shooting event at a gaming competition was actually Madden
Yeah, I know.
Classic
So
Championships 2 years ago. So like it's a non-violent game. So it's important to remember like before we say anything else about it, that stuff can come from anywhere, right? Like it's not just where you would expect it to. So it's important to pay attention to everywhere it can come from. But I do think that it's the raw numbers are going to go up here in the near future. But that's also because, kind of like what we were just
the
talking about,
population
everyone's
increase.
going to be a gamer, right? So people are going to look at those raw numbers and kind of freak out a little bit. They're like, why are all these gamers doing this stuff to themselves, or why are they hurting other people? Well, it's not just that it's gamers doing that; it's that it's people doing that, and there's a lot more of them now who are in this subgroup.
I think could see another reason with the mesh. I think what the news believe in that these video games are kind of cause of these mental wanting to focus on the game population and try to calm it down because they think they have mental well again with the mental health problems they think gamers are the reason why these shootings happen, although a lot of times it's not the case.
Hmm.
They get blown into proportion.
Well, and what's more than
And
that, a lot of the research shows. I wish I had my I meant to pull up some sources before we got started today, but because I was going to reference a couple of specific studies. Um, but a lot of the research shows that like gamers are actually a less violent group of people than the general population is. So like
because because they get used to shooting people in a video game, they're not. I don't. Maybe in some cases, yeah, you will have that instant.
well you know where
That
that
it
narrative
will
started
happen.
though, right? This
Sure.
narrative this idea that video games are responsible for violent behavior started with the Columbine shooting. And it didn't actually have anything to do with games. It's just the kids who shot up Columbine used Doom, which is itself a violent video game, like very violent. They used the Doom level builder to design the floor plan for their school so they could plan their attack. So it had nothing
Oh,
to do with the
I
actual
kind of,
game
I kind of
itself.
heard
It
that.
had, yeah, it had to do with like, um, they used this video game that happens to be violent as a tool to plan this violent act that they were about to go commit.
That's kind of sucks how the situation happened.
It does.
Uh,
Um,
it's 20 years already.
right. It's kind of crazy to think that this question has been this absurd question has been going on for 20 years now. But
I think you're kind of right in that part. It's just it's not like again. I'm gonna go to retrospect. I don't think gamers like again. You have these situations. Yeah, maybe there is a game, but there's a lot of people who do commit these shootings or do kind of harm the public. They're not totally heavy like gamers and such
sure.
waves. Like they're not totally addicts, and they said, "Oh crap, it hasn't been going well. Let's do this in real life."
Mhm.
It hasn't been getting to that retrospect yet. Um,
I mean, it's like saying that
but
like,
could it?
oh, go ahead.
Oh sure.
Well, I was just gonna make an analogy. I'm
Um,
like it's like saying like it's like trying to say GTA 5 is why people destroyed Charleston a couple of years ago.
I know
Or
it's
like
not.
the ooh, I almost killed myself jumping off that. Oof. Um, but yeah, it's like, it's like saying that like Grand Theft Auto caused all the damage by like that white supremacist rally in North Carolina a couple of years ago. Just
I know
because
he's
that
just.
that's a video game that involves like breaking cars and smashing buildings and stuff. Like, no.
I know every game is violent. It doesn't matter what case it is. You can't. Like, you think. Again, you can't blame video games on that because there could be other side of factors that go into it, and kind of based off the self-inflicted harm. I think you could see an increase in that, but I wouldn't see it. Gamers self-inflicting harm because you have this depression factor, anxiety, gaming hasn't been working out. This and that. The mental health and all that. But I just getting it blamed on a stupid video game. It just isn't a reason because there's other people who play the video game. It's just one bad case, and you can't. It's unfortunate that case happened, but he could have took care of himself. It's not based on one video game causing
Right.
just the
Yeah.
whole dilemma of problems with the public.
What I see that stuff as is more of like a cop out. It's these people who would like to have something else to blame and don't. So they blame whatever they can, even if it's not, you know, something that is actually worth focusing on.
So let's get into the next question. Um, so let me get it. So as esports has been growing and growing. There's a lot more stresses. How much? Let me explain the question first. Now, we'll explain
Yeah.
it. Do you think esports players put too much stress on themselves because of the pressure from fans if they do bad, or they get or or whenever they get released from a team in a flash? Do you think what do you think as an esports player? What concerns do they have? If you were an esports player, what concerns could arise?
So I think it's important to recognize that like people who play physical sports deal with the exact same concerns, and the exact same stressors. So it's not like these are exactly new problems. It's just a new place that they're showing up. And so people who are not used to those problems in their environment um, can kind of freak out a little too much and be a little too hard on themselves. So like my main physical sport is like obviously the NFL, and people in the NFL they get cut and traded all the time. Um, that's like not an uncommon thing unless you're one of the top 150, maybe 200 players in the league. Um, you could be cut or traded almost any time. So, um, it's not like it's like I said a new problem. It's just in a new environment, and that's why it's so important to treat it carefully. Um,
Go ahead in the
but
red zone.
I think I am too, to be completely honest with you.
I'll continue.
I'm just checking something. Okay.
It's not a big concern because for the NFL because there's other opportunities. You get paid this money off the rep. There's no. I think also with you
I mean,
just as a source. You have a backup career because you went to college.
but not
You
necessarily though.
probably.
Like there was. I mean, I went to high school with a guy who ended up getting signed by the Colts as an undrafted free agent. He had like
Well, yeah.
that's what like a minimum contract is like 55, $65,000. That lasted all of 2 weeks. He didn't see like any of it. So like the numbers on paper with how like professional sports work are very, very seldom how the math actually works.
Hmm, interesting.
So like
Um,
you'll see like this um who's a good example? Like Antonio Brown, right? He got signed to um a
Raiders.
$30 million contract extension with the Raiders during the offseason. Um, he didn't see a penny of it because he made some stupid decisions, and the team was able to void his entire contract. He saw maybe like 1 million out of, which I get that that's still a lot of money, but he's an extreme example. Like if I were to go in there as an undrafted free agent, um, they could pay me $65,000 for a year. I could tear my ACL 2 weeks in and never see I'd see like a singular check, whatever 65,000 divided by 16 is.
Oh, that sucks.
So like,
Again,
it's still a big concern for most, like the vast majority of people who play that sport. Um,
I think
so
that,
it's not like it's new problems. Like I said, it's just showing up in a new place. Which is still important, because these are people who aren't used to having to address that kind of a problem.
um, we
Where'd
get
you
back
go?
on the gaming
Yes,
topic.
right. So,
Um, what?
I was just gonna say, like for gamers who are in esports, yeah, like it's a very high stress environment, and people get, cut from teams all the time, or they'll find themselves in a situation that's not good. And yeah, that is very stressful. I'm not trying to like minimize how stressful or how damaging that can be. I'm just
I
saying,
think
like,
especially how hard it is to have the opportunity because again, you're not one of these top players in a specific game.
mhm,
Like I think on a there's some youngsters who put all their life to it and they don't get the opportunity because they're not given a chance.
mhm,
They spend all this money thinking they have the opportunity and then it just doesn't work out. Or you got these gamers who, these esports players who get into, are lucky to get in a situation, but the problem is they don't do good. They have to do good because fans are watching. Fans will criticize everything you kind of do.
yeah,
If you just
for
they
sure,
look for bad, just shooting game bad KD, Madden, you don't perform, you don't get a lot of wins.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. It's a
and
real stressor. Like those are real stress factors. Um,
so there's just a lot of factors into it. So just one week
for
you can
sure.
end up on a team, next week you can be a free agent for a long time, and the worst part is you don't. What happens if it doesn't work out? Just say you spend all this time. I think you don't get
Yeah,
opportunity. You got to wait a full year. You don't know what you're doing.
and
You
I think. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
you're working at a job, and next thing you could have went to college. You cut your just say like even as a college athlete who are in you know you left college because you got this opportunity and like a couple months 2 years later you got cut. No one wants to pick you up because you're not good anymore. I don't think even a, cr- a crappy ass like team who has a pays decent salary will want to pick you up. Now you don't have a job. You don't. I don't know how much you paid, how much you get paid. Um, you probably left your parents' house. You probably don't have a home. Especially if you live in a team house, you have to handle your own situation, your bills. Your probably parents kicked you out. Um,
Yeah.
and you
Hmm.
got all these things, and what are you supposed to do for it? I
Yeah.
think the big thing is just college.
Yeah. I mean, it's tricky though, right? Because like college isn't a degree or isn't a surefire way to have success either.
But at
You
least
know,
it's
like
guaranteed for a long time. I think
not
also,
really,
especially how young you East, well,
because a lot of
a
people
lot
who
of
get
cases.
get college degrees end up working in stuff that's not related to what their degree is. Like, they end up in a completely different field.
Um, this guy right here.
Yep.
But yeah, it's unfortunate. I think college again, it's something that's guaranteed, for a long time.
Ow. I really
Um,
got hit.
You get hit from a different angle.
Yeah, I am. Oh God! I
Um,
didn't realize he was behind that rock. I thought it was. I
I
thought it was
think
back about probably another 50
at
yards.
least you. I think the thing is, there's a lot. It's very small. You join a small. You don't know how much you're getting paid. Just a lot of scanty contracts. You're lucky if you won those top tier players, you're probably living fine. You won like some big tournament. You won just say the international or the League of Legends World Championship. You're good. But it just especially for those young population who put a lot of time into it, and it's just hard to get into that because it's not like you had an equal playing field. You say you go into college for a degree. Um, I just come up with a random degree, marine biology. Well, you're probably gonna, you're at equal playing field. You know, you
I mean,
it,
kind of, but a lot
well,
of that has
kind
to
of.
do with like networking too, though. Like it's not just about the quality of your degree. It's about who you know. It's about how well you've built up a resume. Have you worked, done work in that field before? Um, how much experience do you have with the kind of animal in that marine biology field that you want to work with? Like,
Oh, that's unfortunate.
like I
A
I
little bit.
know one of my mom's friends when I was growing up, her husband was a marine biologist. Well, we live in the upper Midwest. There's no marine biology jobs here.
It's just an example,
So
but
he was, well, I'm just using it as like a counter example. It doesn't have to be marine biology. Like my girlfriend went to school for editing and publishing. She works in management, business management. She doesn't, she's not a publisher. She's not at a publishing firm, you know. I went to school for 4 years to be an English teacher. I'm not teaching English.
it's sad. Um,
Because
I think it's just
people act like college is a one-way ticket to a definitive degree, and it's really not.
it's just working for pointless things. Um,
I mean, you do learn a lot.
Someone.
You have a really good opportunity to network a lot. There's a lot of benefits to going to college, but it's not like a guaranteed one-way ticket to a job. That's just the
Um,
distinction I was trying to make.
no, I feel like I went really off with that question. I felt like I thought I was gonna answer it better, but um, I think the big thing with just esports players is it's just you put it's hard because you don't again yeah you kind of right in the networking part.
Yeah, and that's what it boils. You
It's
see a lot of these guys who want to be esports, competitive gamers, and they have the skill. I know a guy. He's in the Marines in Japan right now. Um, could be a professional Call of Duty player. Could be a professional Apex player, but he doesn't know how to market himself. Doesn't know how to brand himself. Shoot. I'm sorry, I bailed.
it's okay.
Oh,
Um,
you bailed a long time ago. Okay. My bad.
are we gonna stop? No, it's
I
okay.
was
We'll
not
just
paying
play
attention.
solo duos. Um, yeah, it's hard. It's network. I think you can gain a lot of fame if you just do all this and that, but again, it's just the main thing about that topic is just inconsistency and also just the young age that you might quit because I don't again they want young talent for esports and they don't go for a lot of times heavy experience unless you're one of these cases like how many 35-year-old professional CS:GO players do you know? No, basically maybe one or two,
Sure.
but they're not. I don't know. I don't really know, but you know, it's a career
Yeah.
that ends really short.
I mean,
Maybe there's
you'll see
some
a lot
cases
of
where you
like
could.
in certain games, you'll see a lot of older players, but like, yeah, you're totally right, especially in like the shooter fields. Like, a lot of them are like, teens to 20s.
And the
You're not
horrible
looking
thing
at,
is just these gamers don't really improve the future, which is why because if you're lucky getting a salary, you lose your job, you have to pay this and that, and you get a college, and then maybe you get an opportunity. Some I don't know. It's just overall, it's a hard system.
yeah. it's definitely a very difficult lifestyle to try to pursue. Try to go after
Some
high risk, high
continue.
reward. It's just it's really high risk, high reward, you know? Like if it's something you really want to do, it's you're banking hard on something that's not a guarantee. Not to say like don't
S-
try to be a pro gamer or whatever, but like it's very high risk, high reward.
Also, one more thing is you got some limitations. Like maybe you don't have a social life with it. You feel depressed because you have to focus on the game. You know, you can't be partying all the time. You know, you don't have that social aspect. Well, maybe some cases, yeah, you do make a lot of connections, but a lot more times you're really focused on the game, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
So
like I
next,
100% there. You know, like with me, like, you know, because I stream full time on top of like going to my day job. Like I don't have I don't have much of a social life, you know. I don't get out much because it's a full-time job if it's something you're trying to do. So, yeah, 100% absolutely right.
so next question to ask you. That's a little bit broken topic. That would be a lot planned, but um, what have you tried personally to improve your mental health?
So for me, one of the big things I do is I meditate a ton. Like I meditate a lot. Um, and I also like a lot of the stuff that I do is like you have to really work at it. Um, which I mean it's kind of just like your physical health, right? Like you have to work at it actively if it's gonna make any kind of a difference. But anyway, like what I do is I do a lot of like I focus really heavily on like a positive lifestyle and thinking and behaving positively. Um, because it's like you wouldn't expect your physical, you know, if you were trying to lose weight, right? Like you wouldn't expect that to just happen because you wish it would. You have to diet, you have to exercise, you have to, you know, take care of yourself, and your brain is the same way. Um, so like
Make sure you take your
I,
time and
yeah, exactly. Take your time and just let things kind of happen when they need to, and do what's right for you. Like there's not always a right or wrong. There's a right or wrong for you, and it's about finding that balance and finding that ability to be okay with that.
uh, I don't know. This is kind of hard for me, but I think mentally, I don't know. I just try to not stress too much. I
Yeah,
think it's like don't like again just it's gonna happen. I don't if it doesn't work out, okay. Well, maybe some cases it matters on the situation, but it's something that's minor. I really don't care about it. Something major, I try to focus. But if maybe it doesn't work out, I know I got other options. It's not like the end of the world for me. Like some people kind of treat it a little bit. Something simple. Just make sure I don't take the situation too serious. Make sure I don't. Well, maybe some situations you just take seriously, but make sure you don't put it where it's harmful.
yeah,
So that's the big thing that needs to be exaggerated there. To just make sure it doesn't like just keep it chill.
yeah, for sure. You know, like especially, you know, I keep coming back to Madden because that's like my main game, but like it's super important to just like, you know, remember to stay chill and not freak out about stuff. 'Cause it'd be really easy to it's really easy to just let stuff get the better of you. And it takes a lot of effort and a lot of patience to remind yourself to relax.
That thing meditating does help a lot. I never really
Mhm.
tried because I don't know. I just don't feel like doing it. But
Yeah, that's
it's
how I was for a long time too. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I wasn't sure if you had more there.
Oh no, it's fine. Um, I don't know. It's just again, it's something. Do I want to put an effort to meditate? Does it really help me? Breathing and all that. I think also one thing to do is I don't know. It's just kind of only mental thing I just kind of think about. But again, just make sure you know it's don't stress about it too heavily if it's too small.
Mm.
So next thing I got is have you felt a time in your life? This is kind of odd. This is a little more personal. This might be a very cruel question in a lot of cases. If Marizon who sees this, have you felt a stage in your life where you wanted to commit suicide?
Oh yeah, I have plenty of times. Like I have attempted to plenty of times, especially when I was younger. I was bullied and abused a lot as a kid, and so there were several times when I was growing up where I snapped and I tried to. Yeah.
What was you have like? This is kind of interesting. You have any experience like? I don't know. It's like might be interesting. If you, it's your choice. You want to do is like describe the experience, like when you were almost. I don't know. It's your choice. You want to answer this, but like
Um.
describe like if you the stages where you wanted it was like inches away, but you hesitate towards it. The situation
Um.
happened and what happened.
Well, there was this. I mean, there was one time that comes to mind when I was in college where like um I was under a lot of stress from school and and I was going through some other personal stuff that doesn't really make sense without an overbearing amount of context. Um, but yeah, I basically just kind of broke down and um, started drinking a lot. And when I realized how bad of a situation it was, I called my girlfriend and snapped out of it. But like, um, I guess thinking about it, like most of the times that I tried to or considered trying to, um, I was pretty young. The first time I thought about doing it, I was like thought about it or tried to. I was like 8, um, and I I threw myself out of a window just to see if it was high enough up to do any real damage. And when I found out it wasn't, I didn't try anything again for a long time. Um, but like, sorry, my cat just woke up from a nap. Um, like I think the worst time was when I actually did like full on try to, like I cinched some material around my neck and and pulled it tight and blacked out, and I don't know how I survived it. Um, because when I woke up, there was no like uh, no one in my family was awake. I'd made sure they were all sleeping before I tried anything, and and they were all still asleep, but there was nothing around my neck anymore. So I don't know. Um, I always took that as a sign that I'm still supposed to be here, but I didn't. I wouldn't be able to tell you why or like physically how that worked. But but here I am. I'm still here. So that was when I was 15.
What was the kind of the situation
I was
where
bullied a
you
lot at
got to that?
school. Yeah, I was
It was
bullied
it
a lot
like a
at school.
specific one?
Um,
Like a
I
like
I don't know.
something that happened that triggered that. Like maybe on that day or a previous day or something like that.
No, nothing really on that day. I have major depression, and when it came down to it, I'd been bullied a lot lately, leading up to that, and
Oh my god.
um, and my parents were really abusive, so like it all just kind of came to a head for me. I might actually make it to. I have enough meds that I might actually get there, and I had an energy drink, so
Oh,
I'm
I
running
don't
really
want to
quickly.
explain the situation as it was stressful. Just like the topic, but I kept my cool since it was small. Um, no way. You're not gonna make it.
Oh no.
Um, I fucked up.
I mean, I did
Um,
too by not paying attention to the storm or finding a vehicle.
I don't know. I don't know. I just kind of with the suicide topic, I just kind of think about it just because I don't know. It's just stuck in my mind. It's gonna be. I think everybody. I think every 7 billion people to kind of think. Well, unless you're really young or happy or really happy or something like that. This could be stages where it just, you wish that you were not in this situation, but it's just so unfortunate. Like it just sucks that you kind of think about it.
Yeah, I get you.
Just like especially I am in college right now. It's sometimes it just feels like why am I learning this? Why is this so much? And just
That's
that's
something I
where you
feel like
just
a lot of people.
I
Sorry,
think
I
school
didn't mean to
stresses
cut you
people
off.
out.
Yeah, like people
Like
don't respect the amount of stress that school puts on someone.
also, have you ever noticed any cases of? I think one story I heard about gamer suicide was I think there was a StarCraft 2 player back. I don't know. I heard this from like a Vice thing. It was a Star. Oh, wait, where are you at right now? Oh, you're not making a circle. Well, kind of close to it, but you got distance.
Yeah,
There's a StarCraft 2 player in Korea who jumped off a building because he was really good at the game, but got there was a scandal that happened where
hmm
it was money laundering, um, match fixing that got him banned, and he couldn't live. You know, if he was not, if he didn't compete professionally, like he stopped competing professionally or stopped gaming, he would have committed suicide. And that situation happened, and he was thinking about it so much because he didn't know what to do, and then he jumped off think a four-story building, but survived because there was it was covered by like I don't know how to say this, like it was roof, like there was a roof on top of it, and he just hit a roof, like I don't know, it's like a panel. He hit the panel and survived it because otherwise he would probably hit cement if he didn't hit that panel.
right. Yeah,
So
I
he
remember
thought
this.
of it.
I know the story you're talking about. It. I do remember it. But
But yeah, that was interesting situation. That was kind of what I think about.
I feel like
That's kind of
that's
the only
more of like
case.
a kind of like we were saying before, like how like mental health problems are a human issue, and then gamers are just like affected a little bit differently by it. You see that happen with a lot of other people and their scandals. Where they'll do similar stuff when they're you know involved in a scandal. Are you kidding me right
Almost.
now? Okay, we're gonna pop a few more bandages and just run for it. I was really hoping there'd be a car back there, but there didn't look like there was.
Continue with the scandals.
Yeah, like you see that happen pretty often where like um, someone will do something bad or wrong and people will find out and they just kill themselves because they would rather do that than deal with it. It's the same thing like with that StarCraft player. It's just, he happened to be a gamer, a lot of these issues aren't, necessarily one person's issue or like a group of people's issues, but it's a human issue.
Eating is just their brain. That was kind of only case I kind of know is the gamer situation, but again, it's different for everyone. Again, there's people who have failed at it, and lucky, your situation, just luckily being alive
Yeah,
and kind of
where,
not
there's
trying
not really a
again
whole lot
because
of reason to it, it just kind of happens. or you don't?
So I'm curious. Let's ask this about 13 Reasons Why season one. Did you watch that show?
I did not watch 13 Reasons Why.
Did you hear about it?
Yeah, I'm aware of it. I
Was
know
it so you
my girlfriend
didn't
read
you
the
didn't
book
want
before
to?
it became popular.
So could it? Did you not try to watch it because of your past experiences? It could have been like for other people too. Like, or you just were not interested in the show?
Um, a little bit of both. So like, yeah, I'm out of meds now. Well, GG. How close did I get? Pretty close. I got pretty close. I couldn't quite get there, but
Oh, at least I got a
oof.
kill. Um, yeah, again, I think people who watch the show were kind of shocked, and now people kind of thought about it, and now people are probably more scared of suicide and all that.
It
But
it kind of
I think that's
bothers me that
awesome.
they kept making more seasons of it though. That's when I really took issue with it. 'Cause like the book is designed to tell a story for a reason, with a message. And then everything after season one of that show is just them making more money off of suicide. Like like popularizing suicide and like suicide victimhood. And I don't like that. I feel like that's kind of dangerous. But again, it's their company, it's their money, whatever.
Okay, so the last question I have for you, on the mental health topic before we get into, actually, I might have an extra one if it doesn't get mentioned.
Sure.
What method do you feel like overall like can help gamers improve their overall mental health, and also for the whole we'll also add this to the whole the population that is feeling depressed, anxiety, um if they feel actually no, this is actually going more to gamers, because I think because I have it specifically. What method do you think can work best for gamers if they feel stressed out or fatigued?
Remember to take time to rest. Like, your your brain needs to rest as much as your body does. And that's why like, meditation is so valuable for me. But even just like go take a nap. Go take a break from working your brain because video games are very mentally intensive and exhausting. Just remember to like make some time for yourself and get rest, you know? If there was one piece of
Okay,
advice I could give to the gaming community, like make time for yourself and get some rest.
it's kind of more. Oh, sorry, it's going more into fatigue question. But that's okay. Also, let's ask this too. Um, what programs have you tried? Like any time in college, have you tried any programs, phone numbers, websites to get tips and all that, or was it? Did you ask like a friend or something like that?
I've been in professional counseling twice, and that is where
Uh,
people ought to go for it. You good with like this little city on the coast?
Lapovka?
Uh, yeah, Lipovka.
Yeah, sure. Oh,
I'm
continue.
sorry, it's been a very long time. No, I've seen professional counselors twice. Um, or had a series of sessions with different professional counselors twice, and I highly recommend it. Um, like getting, no matter how understanding or helpful it is to have, like friends who are understanding and good for you, there is no substitute for getting real help. That's something I
How?
feel like a lot of people in the gaming community lose sight of. Like there is no substitute for actually seeing a counselor and getting professional help.
Oh, that's different. Well, I gotta feel like it's gonna be everybody too. Just spend time um with a person who is actually trained in that degree, which I think, unlike your situation where you go from English major to a business, like a different career, or
Hmm.
with your girlfriend situation, this one you're basically they need it.
Right.
I don't think they'll switch it on you because of how much of a necessity it is.
I mean, I know people with psychology degrees who didn't choose to go into psychology, but everyone who is like a who functions as a therapist and like is licensed as a therapist has a degree in that field. So it's not like everyone who gets the degree goes into the field, but everyone who's in the field has the degree, um, if they're practicing legally, and that's important. That's huge.
Um, why can't I keep on my pistol? Uh, sorry. Are you
Where
tried
did I just get shot at
what do you
from?
think about what do you I don't know, there's like a lot of people here. Have you tried like phone number programs or like you know national or like not from like local level like national websites and something like that as for tips and all that? Or you just been seeing the counselors?
There we go. Oh, that took me long enough. Oh, and I'm dead. I'm so
Oh,
bad at
that
this
work.
game.
Uh, have you tried those national websites like whatever is
I
not?
haven't used no, I haven't used those. I know people who have and have gotten great results from it, but I haven't used it myself, so I can't really speak to it. But
Or you
I
just
do know
not
that
been
other people in my life have had a lot of success using those and getting a lot of good help from them.
okay. So that's gonna be kind of be talking about. I know we're gonna get a little more deeper, but that's kind of the main topic here, which we talked about the physical and mental health of gamers, which is a kind of a big concern. Hopefully, it will get improved. I think, especially in the future, just make sure. I think the big thing is I would kind of go more heavy on the mental health side than like the physical because physical is something you control. Kind of well, again, you can probably control both of them, but I think physical is a lot easier to do.
Right,
Um,
especially, like for most people, I would say. It's something you have a little bit more direct control over. The physical health, that is.
yeah, but I think just make sure you take care of yourself. I think that's where we gotta just. I think especially for gamers, there's again, just try to diverse yourself. Don't try to feel like you're stuck in this situation where you're hopeless. Um,
Hmm.
and this is your backup plan. Just I think also going on that topic, which I mentioned in a different show, just be yourself. I think don't. I think problem is also thing is just people are really too opinionated and they kind of take everything kind of too seriously. I think like when it comes to stressful situations, so make sure that doesn't really happen.
Yeah,
Um,
and if the people around you don't make you feel like you can be yourself, change the people you're around. Like if you don't feel comfortable being who you are around the people that you're around, be around other people. No personal relationship that you have is worth your mental health or your ability to function and feel safe as a human being. Like that's something I wish someone had told me when I was like a teenager. Um, it's like because I was like I mentioned before I was an athlete. I hung out with a lot of the athletes. Most of the time I was in school, and a lot of them treated me like absolute garbage and were some of my worst bullies. And after I stopped doing sports, like I was done with my last sport, my last senior year, um, or I was done with my last sport at the end of the season during my senior year. I think is how I want to say that. I started hanging out with different people, and they made me feel a lot better about myself. Um, people who are just more accepting of who I was and didn't treat me like garbage. That's important. You need to be around people who treat you right and make you feel safe and okay to be who you are.
or just make you um feel like you can achieve more as a person.
Yeah.
If yeah, I think that's just find someone who just, even it's, you can find a love mate who does it, like a love mate who does that too, but just make sure you find someone who just find some people, hang out with new people, try to diversify yourself instead of being stuck in a circle of, too much stress.
Right.
Um, so last thing I'm gonna ask you, this is the closing topic question. This is something creative, because I was watching a TV show and I said, okay, I want to see how this answers. If you were to create your own TV show, what would be the theme based on it? What would be the theme based on? Like, how would you like if you had your own TV show?
Hmm.
That's an interesting question.
Um. Yeah.
I don't want to say
So
a
I've
theme,
always
but
been.
just
Oh, go ahead.
how would you want, like, you know, how would you want the TV show? Like, would the TV show be about?
Um. I've always been a big fan of spy dramas. Um. And so I would maybe kind of lean towards that. I did a lot of writing. Obviously I was an English major when I was in college. So like I have a big hit or like a strong history with writing. And so one of the things I toyed around with was like um, kind of like post-apocalyptic like spy dramas. So that's probably what I would do is like a post-apocalyptic spy drama.
No, it's interesting. I don't know. I was just if I was gonna come my own TV show, I have it listed down. Travel across the U. Since I said I like food, I didn't even mention like the diet being so not the greatest
Sure.
in my situation. But this one's not gonna prove it at all. Travel across the U. Like, how they. This is interesting. I'm gonna kind of base it off. If you heard of the TV show Man vs. Food,
Sure.
if like where it's the old version, not the. I don't know. They created a new one, but it's not the same one as Anne Richmond. I don't know. So it's like let me explain Man vs. Food if anyone doesn't know it when they watch this later. Man vs. Food is where Adam Richmond, a guy, travels across the U.S. or wherever he has to go and decides to do food challenges. He does these food challenges for fun. Um, you know, every place they have a challenge. Just say to eat like a 6 pound taco, or I think eat a lot of. There's one case I would love to devour is a 74-ounce steak.
Ooh,
Like
yeah,
that
I could get
will
on board with that.
like like that would be a challenge that would be pretty cool. Um, but it was just he took challenges across the U.S.
Yeah,
Um,
that sounds like a blast.
doing this. So I want to do it a little bit kind of like that. Um, going all these places with challenges. I think except I, I would be like that would be kind of cool if the place had a challenge. Maybe I'll feature an episode, but um, I think the cool thing I want to try to do is just travel across the U.S. Like one goal is maybe one episode. I hit a random city in the U.S. Okay, it's not like I'm not gonna hit a big city. I'm just let's go for example. We'll go to Duluth, Minnesota. Uh,
Sure.
is it close to Wisconsin? Um, we go to Duluth, Minnesota, and try out for unique places that are not or maybe actually what would be cool is like go to a specific state, like just say episode one. Actually, I want to do like actually one episode features 4 different cities. They can be based off 2 states. So say one episode I go to Duluth, Minnesota, and maybe uh I don't know. Let's just say Minneapolis because I don't know. Yeah, I say Minnesota. Like I go to a really cool, unique restaurant in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and try out the food. If you have a food challenge, maybe I devour it midway through episode, and then maybe it will, and then maybe I go to Duluth, try out one unique food place, try out the foods, give them a recommendation. and then maybe the second part episode. It's like our show, like 15 minutes
Hmm.
per city, and then the second part I go to a different state. Just say I maybe do North Dakota. What do you got in North Dakota? Maybe go to Bismarck for I don't know Cowhead. Let's like try it out at this place that has it,
Sure.
and then maybe I go to like somewhere near at Fargo and try out this sweet Asian recipe, like Asian cuisine. Like I want like travel these places, maybe get some more hype with them. Like I know I want to do since I'm just coming with random cities, but I want to do like some really small cities. I want to do some cities out of nowhere. I don't want to do like how other shows they just do like the most popular cities like New York, Chicago, New York City, Chicago, LA. I want to do some places that no one has heard about, like, but they're not overpopulated. I think it will be interesting. Also, it's just
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like traveling a lot. I like a big geography nerd. Like I like looking at maps.
Same.
Um um so I just learning about new different cities and all that. I get maybe I travel to a historic site or like something unique to a city and all that. I don't know. I think that's just where I kind of get my deem off. Just diversifying myself. Also, let's do actually one more closing topic question until I die here. This will probably be the last game.
Okay.
Um, where would you, if you had, sorry, let's not do this. So you like football.
Yeah.
What will, what is your dream team?
Like if
No,
I were
actually,
to,
so,
oh, go ahead.
sorry, let's not ask that. Just say, oh, you say you live in Wisconsin, Green Bay. Um, if you, wait, so you said like the Lions and all that.
Yeah, I'm a Lions fan.
Um, what would you, fuck, I'm trying to come up with this question, sorry.
It's
This is
fine.
like random. Um, if you, how many years you, if you create your own dream team, what would you want in the Lions in this current situation? If you were gonna
Um,
replace players right now, and I'm dead.
I don't want to say that there are like a lot of players I would want to kick off that team. But I know players that I would like to
What?
see on that team. Um, I think it'd be really cool if the Lions could get their hands on, and this is realistic stuff. Like I mean, players they could realistically get like this year. Um, Chandler Jones, outside linebacker from the Cardinals. I would really like to see him on the team. And then um, realistically, probably like I don't know. That's pretty much it, to be honest. Like there's not a ton of. I was kind of hoping they would go after Tyrann Mathieu, but he's got a
We're finally home.
excuse me, a 3-year contract with the Chiefs right now, so that's not going to happen within the next couple of years if it does happen. So
So you go more for the defensive side. If I was gonna go for the Lions, I think we get a like like we just build this team right now. I think Tom Brady.
but I actually would not trade Stafford for Brady, just
Um,
because Stafford has so many more years left in him than Brady does,
well, I
and he's got a
just
more talented arm. So like, because Brady's only got what like 2 years left in him. There's no way that guy plays more than like 2 more years.
wish you can.
I mean, if you'd have told someone, 4 years ago that he was still going to be playing now, they'd be like, you're crazy. But here he is at like 42.
I think I don't know. I think one player I want to go off after is I think DeAndre. If we can replace I don't know. I think a good free wide receiver. I don't know. I don't feel like the passing game's horrible. I think I want to go more on the defensive side. I think we get a. You want to Tyrann Mathieu with the Chiefs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I
I was
think I
really
have a
hoping he'd end up on
safety in
the.
mind. I'm gonna go with a under Byron. I don't know. Just thinking about safety and said, Byron Jones out of Cowboys. I feel like he's considered a really good
Yeah.
safety. He's underrated. I feel like he
He
could.
can play corner. He can play safety. He can play in the slot. Dude does it all. Yeah.
I feel like he could be a big
Absolutely.
player that can help the defense overall. I think shocking how Lions are doing this year. Again, they should be 4-0.
They should be. Yeah. That's the crazy thing about it.
Also, let's ask this:
Yep.
who's winning? Let's ask this because who's winning the Super Bowl and who's going to be the first pick in the draft?
So ev I hate picking teams to win the Super Bowl because every time I do, something horrible happens to them towards the end of the season. Like the 2014? Yeah, 2014 season, I picked the Cardinals and they were on their fourth string quarterback by week like 14. They still made the playoffs, but they weren't going to win anything, you know. Like Carson Palmer had a horrific injury and they kind of bottomed out. But if I were to pick a team, I think this year the teams that I picked were the Falcons, which look what's happening to them now. And what did I pick? I think I picked the Falcons and the who did I pick? Someone who's not doing well that was supposed to.
Steelers.
The Falcons and the Colts. And
Oh,
Andrew Luck retired.
that's an
So
interesting Super
so
Bowl
I
matchup.
don't know. I think
Oh,
that would
so
have been a
two
really fun
unfortunate
game to watch.
situations.
Right,
Uh,
exactly.
I
So that
think I was
every
gonna
single
go
time something bad
for
happens.
Pats and Saints. I didn't want to go for,
Sure.
actually, I think this was kind of before season, but I'm gonna say this. I think this is kind of what I was thinking about, anyways. Saints is fortunate Drew Brees got injured, but again, he's gonna come back. It was unfortunate what happened last year in the NFC Championship game. I think I'm a big Pats fan. I do like Brees too. It's a hard match. I'm gonna be Pats all day. Even in the Super Bowl, even if the Lions played them, I'll be I'll be dick sucking the Pats. But I feel like it's I think one more Super Bowl. 7 rings for Brady will be nice.
Yeah, that would be kind of insane. So I can't be hating on. I love just watching history happen, man. So like Brady wins another ring. Can't be hating on that.
So that is actually gonna be the end of the show. Thank you for joining me on the show, Joyce Nazer. I'll repeat what the episode was covered about: the problems with physical and mental health of gamers, slash overall public, as we kind of mentioned about the overall public too. Do you want to give any shout outs to anyone before we end it off?
Um, hmm. Yeah, there's actually a YouTube channel I'd like to shout out. Obviously besides my own, it's Joyceinator Gaming on YouTube or twitch.tv/Joyceinator. But my friend Mongoose actually or Mangoose rather, does a weekly podcast called For the Minions. And I'm going to be on that podcast here in a couple of weeks, talking about MOBAs, so like games like League of Legends and that kind of stuff, but on PS4. So that's going to be on his channel, Mangoose. It's linked on mine, so you can just find it there. But yeah, Joyceinator Gaming on YouTube and twitch.tv/Joyceinator.
Oh, that's gonna be on stream. Probably have a topic next week. I don't have a topic planned, but hopefully we can get a topic. Hopefully we can get a guest for a topic that I've been waiting for 3 months for. But we'll mention it. We'll hopefully get one guest soon. Probably goal is to have one next Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, that's gonna be on stream. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Actually.